Kakalosh Boker Tov. We are going to continue with Daf Ein Vav Amud Aleph, which is 76A1. We're going to finish the perek, start the next perek, and continue going. So yesterday, what we were speaking about is that I'll just start from the bottom of Ein He Amud Bet. Amar Rav Nachman Baravu Amar Rav, says Rav Nachman, right, in the name of Rabba Baravu and the name of Rav, Shte Chatzerot u'shlosha batim benehem. When you have two different chatzerot, okay, and you have three houses between them. So if you look here I'm going to share the screen. Here you have Bet Chatzerot, right? You have the two different courtyards. This is courtyard number one, courtyard number two, right? And then you have the houses in between, which is over here. Okay? So these are the two different cases where they're putting the Eruv. So this is Eruv over here. This is Eruv Bet. Look, this is Chatzer Bet, Chatzer Aleph. Chatzer Aleph, the first courtyard here, is putting its Eruv in this house, right? Which is in this side, right? And the Chatzer Bet, which is over here, is putting its Eruv in this house, right? Which is on this side, okay? Now remember, this is like it's in between the two Chatzerot, really, because this is the Mavui, but the entrances are inside the actual Chatzer, so they put their Eruv in the opposite Chatzer. Chatzer Aleph put it in this one, which is really part of Chatzer Bet, right, even though it's in between the Chatzerot, and Chatzer Bet put their Eruv in this house, which is really in the Chatzer Aleph, right, which is in the part, okay? So, Zeba benoten aruvo bazeh, Zeba benoten aruvo bazeh. Says the Gemara, Zeh naaseh bet shar lazeh, Zeh naaseh bet shar lazeh. Each one of the outer houses became a bet shar, became like a gatehouse, right, to the Chatzer, which it's open to, which means that since they come and they put their Chatzer they pass through it, and therefore they don't have to be mishtatef be'eruv, because a bet shar, right, which is a gatehouse, is not considered a house, and therefore it does not prohibit upon the other houses. Emtsai, the middle one, havele bait shemanichim bo et eruv. The middle house is considered the house where they put the eruv, and tzrich l'ten et hapat, so he doesn't have to give the bread. Okay, so badik. Okay, badik lehu rachava l'Rabbanan. So Rachava, he wanted to ask the rabbis with the following question. Shte chatzerot u'shne batim benehem. If you have two chatzerot and two houses between them. Sorry, let me go back to the original, to this picture. This is the one of three houses in between. Yeah, this is the one of two houses in between. You see over here, there's no house in the middle. Here, there was also a house in the middle. So you had one house, two houses, three houses in the middle. Here you only had two houses in the middle. So shte chatzerot u'shne batim benehem, ze b'derech ze benataruv v'bezeh v'derech ze benataruv v'bezeh. Kanu eruv or not? Is the eruv good or not? So says the Gemara, mi mashvi lehu legabe de'ai bait. Are you going to tell me that for these people that's considered a house, u'legabe hayt bet shar, and the other one is going to be a bet shar, and then you're going to go the other way around, and for the other one it's going to be a bet shar, and the other one is going to be a house? Which means, what are you going to say now in this case? Do you say the same halacha or not? Amrulei, they told them, Shnehem lo kanu eruv. They didn't acquire the eruv. Right? Manashach. Why? Bet shar mashi. If you're making it into a bet shar, into a gatehouse, hanotenet eruvo bet shar be'achsadro mipeset and eruv. If you put an eruv in a bet shar achsadro mipeset, remember, bet shar is the gatehouse. That's the next picture. Here, this is a bet shar, a gatehouse. And achsadra is the porch, the trellis, the pergola. Right? And a mirpeset is the balcony. Right? So, in any of these three cases, if you're going to put your eruv in the bet shar, the gatehouse, achsadra, or the mirpeset, in any of these three things, it's not going to be an eruv. And if you made it, right, that it's actually a house, you're putting it in the house, right, that they didn't put in as a eruv. So therefore, obviously it's not going to be good. So says the Gemara, what's the difference between Rava? The Amar Rava, but Rava says, Amrulo, they told them, Amrulo, Shnaim, two people came in and said, go make an eruv for us. Le'echad, right, one of them, he did it during the day still. Ule'echad, and the other time, he did it during Ben Hashmashot. The one that he did it during the day, it was already eaten by whether it's a dog or by a human being, right? So it says, Ben Hashmashot, the one that was done during the Ben Hashmashot, the other one that he did during Ben Hashmashot was only eaten during the nighttime. Right? Both of them are going to be a good eruv because we're going safek rabbanan lekula. or Hachi Yasha. Yeah? So he says the Gemara, Hachi Yasha, can you compare, right? So he says, right, can you compare both cases? Hatam, over there, Safek Yimama, Safek Leila. There's a doubt whether it's a Safek, whether it's daytime or nighttime. Lo min keramilta, it's not nikar what it is. So therefore, that's what we're going to say, it's kosher. Aval hacha, but in our case, basically, is it a house or the house, or is it a betshar? Basically, I cannot come and make my eruv in another chatzer if we're not connected in any other way. Here, in this case, there were two completely different chatzerot. So since they were completely two different chatzerot, I cannot come and give it to put in another house. So therefore, it doesn't count. If it's going to be a betshar, that's fine. But not that. So he's saying if this is now, right, the betshar, so it can't be a betshar, right? It can't be a gate house over here and a gate house over here. It just doesn't make sense. There's only two houses in between. Okay? Hadran alach, adan. Very good. So we're starting now the next chapter. Okay? This is now Perek Shvi, the 7th chapter. Okay? And we're going to start. Chalon sheben shte chatzerot. When you're going to have a window between two chatzerot. Arba'a al arba'a. 4 tvachim by 4 tvachim. Betoch asara, within, right, 10 tvachim from the ground. So here you have the picture. If everyone's looking at the screen, you have 4 by 4, okay, and it's within 10 tvachim. There's 10 tvachim from the ground, 80 centimeters, and the window is 32 centimeters square. Okay, Eiruvin shnayim. So you do 2 Eiruvin, like two chatzerot which are separate. Okay, that means each one can do his own separate Eruv. Okay, 4 tvachim by 4 tvachim, within 10 tvachim from the ground. Okay, he made a window. So these two, right, they can make 2 different chatzerot. V'im ratzu, but if they wanted to, Eiruvin echad, they could do 1. And then they're going to be permitted. Okay, so now it says over here in the Gemara, okay, sorry, we're still in the Mishnah. This is the Mishnah in the new chapter. Okay, on Ein Vav Amud Aleph. 76.
Got this?
Again, everyone understood the case. One more time. This is 80 centimeters. 10 tfachim is 80 centimeters. Within 80 centimeters, there's a window, 4 by 4. 4 tfachim by 4 tfachim. So what's happening is, the fact that you have a window from within 4 tfachim by 4 tfachim, you're allowed to do Eiruvin shnayim, you're allowed to do 2 different Eiruvin, like 2 different chatzerot, there are 2 courtyards. So you do 2 different Eiruvin, right? That's what you're allowed to do. And therefore, it's going to be a sulat taltel between the chatzerot. But if they wanted to Eiruvin echad, they could do 1 Eruv between both of them. And then it's going to be mutar letaltel from one chatzer to the other chatzer. Even though there's a mechitza in between, there's like a wall or partition in between, it's still going to be permitted. However, though,
how's it going to carry among them?
No, it's through the window. They put it through the window. Now, if it's going to be less than 4 tvachim, yeah, less than 4 tvachim by 4 tvachim, or if it's going to be less than 10 tvachim from the ground, Eiruvin shnayim ve'Eiruvin echad. So then they could only do, right? That's what, right? It says over here, Eiruvin shnayim ve'Eiruvin echad. This is this case. However, though, if it's going to be pachot midaled al daled, less than 4 tvachim by 4 tvachim, you have, right, 3 by 6, or you have 3 by 3, or if it's going to be less than 10 tvachim. So in such a case, Eiruvin shnayim, you have to do 2 different Eiruvin, then Eiruvin echad, you cannot connect them. That means basically the window has to be specifically a minimum of 4 by 4, not 3 by 5 or 3 by 6 even, right? It has to be minimum of 4 by 4, or even if it's going to be 5 by 5, which is bigger, right? But it cannot be less than 10 tvachim. It has to be above 10 tvachim. Okay? So says the Gemara, Leima tnan stama. So why don't we just say, sorry, you want to say something? I can't see if they want to ask. So, says the Gemara. Okay, the Gemara now says as follows. Lema tnan stama. Why don't we just say that we learned stama in our Mishnah? Kirashbag, Kirabishmon Gamliel, the Amar that he says, Kol pacho me'arba, Kalavud dami. Anything which is less than 4, right, by 4 tfachim, anything which is less than 4 tfachim is levud. Remember, the concept of the levud is as follows. Usually we paskin the levud is 3 tfachim. Here there's a shita of Rashbag that it's 4 tfachim. What is levud? If I have something within 3 tfachim from the ground, it's considered the ground. That's why I don't know if you've seen, sometimes a person goes to the house of Avelim, of people that are in Avelut, and what happens? They are sitting very close to the ground, but they're sitting on very, very low chairs. Those low chairs are purposely done because they're Avelim chairs. It's within 24 centimeters from the ground. If it's within the 24 centimeters from the ground, it's considered that they're sitting on the ground. Okay, so the same thing, not only to do with Avelut, to do with Sukkah, to do with all these halachot, within 3 tfachim is considered the ground, or they're considered that there's a connection between one another. So you could have one block of wood, within another 3 tfachim, another block of wood, within another 3 tfachim, like that, and then you have the wall of the Sukkah. There's spaces in between. It doesn't matter. I say levud. Okay, so now what's happening is, Shitat Rashbag is that if it's going to be less than 4 tfachim, it is lavud. Okay? So it says over here, so it comes out, why are we saying that if it's less than 4 tfachim, right, by 4 tfachim, why, that means obviously our Mishnah is going according to Rashbag. So it says, even if you want to come and tell me that it's Shitat Rabbanan, ad kan lo plige Rabbanan aled Rashbag, ela linyan levudim. Until here, Rashbag is only arguing to do with levud. Aval yam pitcha, but to do with the entrances, meaning like a window, afilu Rabbanan modu, even the rabbis hold that if it's going to be arba, it's considered an important window, and if not, it's not, which means like this. You cannot compare both cases. The case of the machloket between the rabbis and Rashbag was only to do with lavud, that I'm going from the ground upwards, or I'm going to connect 2 different things. But to do with an entrance, an opening, even the rabbis hold that I need minimum of 4 by 4 tfachim in order to be considered an important opening. Pachot me'arba, but if it's going to be less than 4 by 4 tfachim, or if it's going to be above 10 tfachim, so you need 2 different Eruvin, and you cannot do 1 Eruv. So says the Gemara, Pshita, it's obvious. Given the Amar, arba al-arba betoch hasara. Since you said 4 by 4 within 10 tfachim, Mimela ana yadana, so therefore Mimela we know, de pachot me'arba or mala me'asara, it's going to be less than 4 tfachim, or if it's going to be above 10 tfachim in height, lo, it doesn't help. So what's it coming to teach you? It's obvious. If you told me the general rules, it has to be more than 4 by 4, it has to be within 10. So now I already know if it's going to be above 10 tvachim, or if it's going to be less than 4 by 4, it's nothing. So it comes to teach you, because all of the windows were above 10 tvachim. But if it's part of it is within the 10 tvachim, then they could do 2 different eruvin. But if they want, they could do 1. Okay, so if it's part of it is within, it's still going to be okay. Okay, fine. Tanina lehad etanu Rabbanan. So we learned. Kulo lemala me'asara. The entire window, or the majority of the window, has to be above 10 tfachim. Umiksato betoch hasara, but part of it is within the 10 tfachim. Or kulo betoch hasara miksato lemala me'asara. Or the majority of it, right? That's what we're saying. Rubo kulo, within the 10 tfachim, and part of it is above. Which means that we go by the majority of the window. As long as the majority of the window is going to be, let's say, for example, below, it's going to be, right, okay. If it's going to be above, it's not okay. So, if you tell me that the entire window is above 10 tfachim and part of it is below, you still said Marvin Shnaim, you do 2 different Eruvin, but if you wanted, you could do 1 Eruv. So, so then why do I need the other case then? I already know. You go by the majority of the Gamarnu. So says the Gemara, you're right. We're teaching this one, and you don't even have to say the other one. You're right. It's a general rule sometimes in the Gemara, in the Mishnayot, we say Zoven Tzrich Lomar Zo. You told me this one, even though you don't have to mention it. Okay? Amar Rabbi Yochanan, says Rabbi Yochanan, Chalon Agol tzarich sheyeh be'ekefo siv arba tfachim. When you have a round circle, a round window, you need the hekef, the circumference has 24 tfachim. Ushnaim umashu mehen, and 2.5 of them. Betoch hasara has to be within the 10 tfachim. Shimi Rabbeinu, because if you're going to come, you're going to make it into square, it comes out, mashu has to be betoch hasara, within 10 tfachim from the ground. So says the Gemara, Michti, let us see, Kol sheyesh be'ekefo shosha tfachim yesh bo b'rochvo tefach. We know the concept of pie. Yeah? Everyone knows pie? Yeah, it's a pizza pie. Yeah, pie.
By what? The number or by the...
Pie in a circle. Yeah? So it says over here, we know...
3.14.
Exactly. So the hekef of a vinigul is 3 times of its width. Meaning when you come and you take the circumference of a circle, it's 3 times, right, the width. So if we already know that the width of the window has to be 24 tvachim, so betreisar sagya, so then it's already a window then, is going to be enough with 12. Because if you have 24, right, it's already enough 12. Here it says, Rocha vigula ino akota shelo. Okay, fine. Here it says it's 3.14, not 3, but we go like the closest number. That's why we said 3. Okay? So what the Gemara is asking is, it's already enough that a window should have 12 tvachim. Why did you say you need 24 tvachim? So answers the Gemara. This is on Ain Vav Amud Bet, 76b. Hanamile, one of these words, bi'igula, by a circle. Aval beribua, but if it's going to be a square, ba'inan tfe, we need more than that. Okay? Okay. So now says the Gemara, Michti, let us see. Kama mruba yoter al-igul. How much is a square more than an igul? Right? We learned this a few times already in the daf. We said a quarter, ravia. So says the Gemara, so b'shitzar sagya. So then if it's only a quarter, add a quarter to 12, it should become 16. Right? But you're not going to become 24. So what's going on? Why are you going to do different extremes? You told me 24, it should have been 12. So no, there's a difference between the square and the circle. Fine, but it should still be the 16 then. So answers the Gemara, Hanimila bi'igula denafik migurbu. That's only if it's going to be that the igul is coming from within the ribua, right? Which means that it's inside. The circle is inside the square. But if it's going to be the ribua, which is outside of the square, right? You need more. My time, what's the reasoning? Because of the corners also. Okay, so because of those corners, that's why you need more, right? You have the pictures there. Yeah, let me just see. I don't know why we're here. We don't have any pictures. Here it is, the 24 tvachim. Here, look, now we got the picture. I didn't realize this is probably Tosfot or something. That's why I didn't understand. Here, right? Look, you got the 24 tvachim, okay? 2 tvachim in a little bit, where here it says tefach umashu. Has to be from within the 10 tvachim. Okay, now, here we said, kol sheyesh be'kefo shosha tvachim. This is the kef. So as long as you have the kef, 3 tvachim, so the width is going to be a tefach. So then we said, the next picture, right? We said that you need 2 tfachim on each side if it's going to be on the outside. So if the circle is on the outside, not on the inside, so then you need to add all these tfachim on the outside. 2, 4, 6, 8. So because of that 8, that's why it's not enough, just 16, you need 24. 16 plus 8 is 24. Right? But remember, you already had to add a quarter because of the corners for the square more than the circle. Now you have to add the other 8 tvachim right around it. You see? This is the case. Fine. And then it's another one because of the outer corners. So it says gonna michti. Let us see. Kol amata beribu amata utrechum shebalachsona. Any amma, when you have an amma, that's this picture here. You have one amma and another amma. So that actually equals 1 amma and 2/5. Kol amata beribua. Anytime that you have an amma as a square, right? Right, 1 amma by 1 amma. So it's amata utrechum shebelachson. It's 1 amma and 2/5 in alachson, diagonal. Okay. So then it should be really 17 minus a 5th. So says the Gemara. Rabbi Yochanan says, "Kidayin de kisre." Right? It's really be'emet like the shita of the dayanim in Kesareh. The amr like Rabbanan, or like the rabbis in Kesareh, not like the dayanim, the rabbis in Kesareh. The amr that they say igula migoribua rivua, riva, which means that they say when you're going to have an igul, a circle from within. Look over here, this picture. This picture, it's within 10 fachim. Here you have 5 3/5. You have 4 by 4. So when you have 4 by 4, right, it's 5 3/5 is diagonal, and therefore the circumference is 16 4/5, not 17. Okay, so the Gemara says, "Rabbanan de kesed riva," which means like this. This is the rabbis that they say that hekef haribua is 4 tvachim. Okay, this is 4 by 4. Everyone sees the 4 by 4.
No, but you said before it was 2 by 5, not 3 by 5.
No. It's 1 2/5 for 1 by 1. So if you now do 4 by 4, it becomes 5 3/5. You understand? Because you're doing
4 and 2
4,
fifths. No, no.
4 times 1/5. So if you
Okay,
do,
and that becomes 5 3/5.
which one?
That becomes 5 3/5. 4 by 1 2/5. I'm confused. Sorry, Arabic.
One more time. You had every amma,
Yeah.
right? Every amma is an amma and 2/5. Correct? So if you have 4, right? If you have 4, you're doing 1.25, right? Or it's not really 0.25 because it's 2/5. It's not 0.25. 0.25 is 1/4,
Yeah.
right? It's 1 and 2/5 times 4. So
Times 4.
okay,
That's
so
5 3/5.
if I'm gonna do the 1 times 4 is already 4. If I have 2/5 times 4, okay, so 2/5 plus 2/5 plus 2/5 plus 2/5, I've got 2, 4, 6, 8 fifths. 8/5 is 1 and 3/5. So the 4 now become, you're with me or not? Everyone's with me or not?
Got it.
One second.
Yes.
Okay, perfect. So that's this picture here. We had 4 by 4 tfachim. So the alachson, which is the diagonal, becomes 5 and 3/5. So when you're going around the circumference, it's not really 17, it's 16 and 4/5. So says the Gemara, no, they hold like the Dayanim or the Rabbanim of Kesare, which basically they say that igula, right? That an igul, migor ribua, which is inside, a circle which is inside of a square, is a quarter, which means here you have 1 tefach by another tefach. The circumference is going to be 3 tfachim, but this is going to be 4 tfachim. So if the hekef haribua is going to be 4 tfachim, less than the hekef haribua is going to be less than 1 tefach, so then what happens is you have 3 tfachim. So that's the circle. Okay? So says the Gemara, "V'ribua migo igula," but when you have the other case, that the square is inside the circle. Remember, here, the circle is inside the square. In this case, the square is inside the circle. So when you have the case of the square inside of the circle, it's palga. What does you mean by that? If you have 4 by 4 tfachim, and then the circumference is 24 tfachim, so it says here, 24 tfachim is hekef ha'igul, is the circumference of the circle. You have to subtract half, right, of the hekef, half of it, right, hekef amruba, right? Now this is going to be 16 tfachim. 4 by 4 is 16. So if you take half of this, what is it? It's 8. So that's why it says that the circumference, right, of the meruba is going to be 16 tfachim. Okay? Fine. Says the Gemara, pachot me'arba l'arba, says the Gemara, this is Tosafot, another Tosafot. Let me just get to the place where we are. Okay, fine. Pachot me'arba al-arba, less than 4 by 4. Says the Gemara, Amr of Nachman, says of Nachman, Lo shanu ela chalon sheben shtei chatzirot. That's only going to be if there's going to be a window between 2 different courtyards, right? 2 different courtyards. Aval chalon sheben shtei batim. But if you have a chalon which is in between 2 houses, so look, here they made it obviously see through the house, so you could see it. So this is the wall of the house. They opened up so we could see the inside. And in between the 2 houses, you have a window. Yeah, this is the window in between the 2 houses. So says the Gemara, Chalon sheben shne batim, afilu lemala me'asra, even if it's going to be more than 10 tfachim, nami also, im ratzu le'arev, if they wanted to make an eruv, ma'arevin echad, they could make one eruv for both of them. They could connect them. So this one, even if it's going to be more than 10 tfachim, as long as it's going to be 4 by 4, obviously, it connects the 2 houses, and therefore they can make one eruv for both. My tama, what's the reasoning? Beita keman demale dami, because it comes out that the entire house is filled with things, and therefore kilu that there's no 10 tfachim from the ground. 8 ways Rav Nachman, so Rav asked Rav Nachman, right? Chalon sheben shte chatzirot. When you have a window between 2 courtyards, ve'echad li chalon sheben shne batim, or you have right something which is a chalon between 2 houses, ve'echad li chalon sheben shte aliyot, or you have a house a chalon, a window between 2 floors, ve'echad li chalon sheben shne gagin, or between 2 roofs. Let me see if we have the pictures. Yeah, this is between the two aliyot, right? Or between the two roofs. All the three pictures. This is between two roofs, the window, between the two roofs, the aliyot, or between the two houses. Okay? So in all these cases, it's above 10 tfachim and 4 by 4. Okay? Or between two rooms. Again, between two rooms. Kulan arba'a al arba'a betoch asra. All of them need to be 4 by 4 tfachim, 32 centimeters squared, and within 10 tfachim from the ground. So basically, what we're saying here is, it still needs to be 10 centimeters from the ground, 10 tfachim from the ground, which is 80 centimeters, right? So it says it still needs to be like that. Don't tell me now that it could be above. It has to be below. So it says the Gemara, Terguma chatzirot. That's only on the chatzer. So it says the Gemara, V'hai echad li ketani. He said one, either this or that, or this or that. So Targum al arba, no, all of them need by the 4 by 4. 4 tfachim by 4 tfachim, but not in anything else. Ba'mine Rabbi Abba min Rav Nachman. So says Rabbi Abba to Rav Nachman, Lul apatuach min abayit la'aliyah. If you have a lul, it's like you see, this is the lul. I don't know how you say lul in English. It's like a window, it's like a sunroof. Like it's a sunroof. It's like a sunroof. Okay, this is not a sunroof, because it doesn't go to the sun. It's like a sky. ¿Cómo se llama esa ventana? The sky roof?
Skylight?
Skylight.
No. Drop.
Yes.
Yeah, skylight.
Skylight.
No? I think it's a skylight.
Skylight is in the roof.
In the roof. It's like, many times some houses that they have like, it's like an opening. It looks like a window, but they just have it on the ceiling. So light comes in. No? I think that's called, yeah. So that's what it is. The lul, this type of window in the ceiling, which is open to the upper floor. Do you need a sulam kavua? Do you need a fixed ladder there in order to permit connecting them or not? That's the question. Okay? In order to permit them to actually come and start making an eruv between them. Okay? Because technically speaking, the only way to get to the second floor is outside here. That's why they purposely made the stairs on the outside over here. So I have right here the window. It's actually very dangerous where it is. You could fall through, but okay, let's not get into that. Yeah. So, but the concept though is that do we need a sulam kavua, a fixed ladder in order to permit doing the eruv between them or not? So, when do we say that the house is filled? That's only side by side. But if it's in the middle of the house, I would say no. Or maybe there's no difference. You don't need the fixed ladder there. So you thought to say sulam kavua, you don't need a sulam kavua. But you do need a sulam arai. You don't need something fixed, but you do need a ladder there. So Idmar, it was stated, you don't need nothing. You don't need that the sulam is there at all.
No, because it's circumstantial whenever you're going to use it.
Yeah. Okay, basically you don't need it at all. Eno tzarich. Fine, Mishnah. Kotel sheben shtei chatzirot. When you have a wall between two different courtyards, that's the wall between the two courtyards. Okay, gavoa asara, it's the height of 10 tfachim, v'rochav arba'a, and the width is 4 tfachim by 4 tfachim. Me'arvin shnaim, so you need two different eruvin, right? Ve'em me'arvin echad, you cannot do it together, because since it already has the height of the 10 tfachim and 4 tfachim width, it's a wall, there's nothing what to do. Okay? By the way, just food for thought, it's very interesting that the majority of the gates or the fences nowadays are not 4 tfachim width. So even though they're more than 10 tfachim tall, right, it could be maybe that you don't need two different eruvin, because maybe all the backyards are all together, are all connected. You know what I'm saying? Like, it doesn't matter what type of fence you have, whether it's the chain link fence, whether it's the how do you call the other ones? Like all these the point fence, all those fences. They don't have 4 tfachim width. So it says over here, Ayu berosho perot, if they had fruits on the top, right? Elu olim mikan ve'ochlin. These ones will come up to this one and eat. Ve'elu olim mikan and ochlin. They could go on the other one and they could eat. Uvilvad shelo yoridu lemata, but they can't bring it downwards. Okay, so again, here's the fruits. This one will come up to here and eat. This one will come up to here and eat, but they can't bring down the fruits if the fruits was on top of the wall. Nifritza kotel, if the kotel was broken, yeah, that's over here, right? Nifritza kotel at 10 amot until 10 amot. The kotel was broken between them. Okay? Ad 10 amot me'arvin shnaim. So then it's going to be an eruv for both of them. And if they want, so they could do one. Neshu kepetach, because it's like an entrance. Yoter mikan, if it's going to be more than 10 amot. Marvin echad ve'marvin shnayim. So they're going to have one eruv and not two. Okay? Fine. You see, this is, these two are going to come into here to eat. No, this is not this case yet. Fine. So says the Gemara, what happens if you don't have a wall with a thickness of 4 by 4? What's the halacha? Amar Rav says, Avir shte reshiyot sholetet bo. So then at the top of the wall, you have the avir of both of the chatzerot. So lo yaziz bo afilu melon imah. So you shouldn't move, not even like a chuta sarah, which means since that avir on the top belongs to both of them, you cannot move whatsoever. Okay, but Rabbi Yochanan says, Elu ma'alim mikan ve'elu ma'alim mikan. Each one is going to go on the top, right? Ve'ochlin, and then they can eat. But since it's not 4 tfachim, it's not considered a shoot. So it's like a makom ptur. So therefore, you're allowed to do that. Okay, and we finish the daf. Bezrat Hashem, we continue tomorrow. Not tomorrow.